And a good morning to you. Welcome to the show. The Back Nine Boys Golf Show is brought to you by Bridgestone Golf. Play the ball that fits only you. By Sea Palms Resort, featuring Sunday brunch menu by Chef Johnny Carino. And by Mizuno Golf. Reach beyond. On the show, we're going to talk with David Angelotti, the putting director at the Sea Island Golf Performance Center, about how to putt better and lower your score. Kind of little things that you might need to improve, and he'll tell you all about that. Then we'll talk with Club Car Championship at the Landings Tournament Director, Cheyenne Overby, about the Corn Ferry event in a couple of weeks and the difference between last year to this year, having fans. And then finally, we'll talk with former golf broadcaster Craig Cann about his time at Golf Channel and his new book, Can You Get Our Attention? And we'll talk to him all about that in just a few minutes. So how many putts do you have each round? Would you like to make more putts and avoid that dreaded 3 or worse 4? I had a chance to talk with putting director David Angelotti at the Sea Island Golf Performance Center about how to improve your putting. $15 minutes, 30 minutes?
Yeah, so that depends on the player, right? So if you spend a lot of time outside of the round or outside on a practice green, then you might not need as much time before a round. That might be, okay, I do 5 minutes on the straight, I do 5 minutes on the around the world, and I do 5 minutes lag putts, right? Well, that would be 15. But that's someone that's practicing a lot
Right.
prior to going out to play. And then you have the amateur, right, that might need more like half an hour, where they're using that as a practice time because that's the only time they can get out to the golf course before or for that week, right? So the average golfer, plays more than they practice. And so getting to the course a little bit earlier, right, to allot for that time is better. So it just depends.
Yeah. Putting is one of those things where if you're putting well and you're getting closer to the hole, obviously your putting stats will improve. But if your putting is off, even on the pros, it puts more pressure on their iron game, puts more pressure on their drivers to try and drive it farther, irons to get it closer, and put less pressure on their putting. Because if you're hitting putts from 36, 40 feet most of the round, it's going to put too much pressure on your putting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at, let's say, for the average PGA Tour player, if you're at 33 feet, you're expected to 1 putt just as much as you're expected to 3 putt. So what happens is that a 2 putt from that distance is good. So if you're hitting your approach shots to 33 feet all day or 30 feet, right, you're not really expected to make any of those. So if you 2 putt it all day and you hit 18 greens in reg, right, in this theoretical round, well, you would score even on your putting performance for that day. But that's not how you would walk off the green mentally, right? So what happens is mentally we put too much pressure on ourselves to make longer putts, where in reality we have to make the shorter ones.
And a lot of people don't have a routine before they putt. And a routine in your putting game is critical.
Yeah, so one of my mentors, David Orr, always talked about a routine and broke it down into kind of subdivisions, right? So you have your green reading routine. So that's how you walk around the green, how you visualize whether or not you do aim point, visualize how the ball is going to break or where it's going to go into the hole. Then you have your pre-putt routine where you're going in, you're getting in, you're making your practice strokes, you're setting the putter, setting your stance. Then you have your targeting routine. So what is your attention once you're over that ball? What are you paying attention to? Is it your start line? Is it an aim point? Is it how the ball's going to break? Is it an entry point? Is it the hole? And then from there, you have your post-putt routine, which is more of where you're quantifying why you missed the putt or why you made the putt so that you can, after the round, go work on that and be work to improve, basically.
So if you're hitting a left to right putt and you're always hitting it low, you basically need to practice your aim because either your speed is wrong and I may be wrong in this, but your speed may be wrong, or your aiming point or target is off, and you need to aim it a little bit more left and a little higher.
Yeah. So okay, let's just do a hypothetical left to right, average breaking putt. Okay, and we'll say we're going from about 10 feet. So at 10 feet, you only have 1 degree of air in your start line before you'll miss. So assuming that you do everything correct, right, and you have the perfect aim point, you have the perfect read, you have the perfect speed, right, you either aim 1 degree incorrectly, or your stroke sends the ball 1 degree incorrectly, you're gonna miss. So one way to miss is that way. Okay. The next is in not matching speed and read. Okay. Right. So let's assume that you want to hit it 1 foot past, and you hit it 3 foot past. Well, for the read that you had, assuming it's correct, if you hit it 3 foot past instead of that 1 foot past, you'll miss. Okay. Or assume that you do hit it 1 foot past. Okay. If it misses high or misses low, then what could have been wrong was the read aspect within that, and or your aim or start line to that. So there's always a backdoor, right? A way to backdoor into what was incorrect for a putt. So the way that I like to explain this is, if the ball misses on the high side of the hole at, let's say, dead weight, where it's in line with the line in the cup, well, that just means that your read or your start line was too high. Okay. So then that would have to adjust down so that the ball could have gone in the hole. Well, if your speed is again dead weight, but it misses to the low side of the cup, and that was your intention, was to hit it dead weight, well, then you need to adjust your read up. Okay. So you know that based off of where that ball finished relative to the cup, that the read just needed to be adjusted. Okay. So let's say I was trying to hit it 1 foot by, right? It misses low, right? In line with the cup, dead weight. Well, that tells me that if I did hit it that one 1 foot by, it would have had a better chance to go in. And there's a potential that could have gone in. And so I need to hit that putt again, assuming I'm practicing, and see if I do actually hit it 1 foot by, does it go in correctly? And then once I figured that out, then I can work back, well, is my read in the correct spot? Did I start it on the correct line? So that's where a training aid comes in, right? Any of these start line trainers that Vizio has, iLine Golf, right? There's so many out there nowadays that allow you to set a ball gate and start the ball through that gate. Right. Well, if I aim that at my aim point, okay, so let's say I want to say my left to right read is a foot outside the hole, and I aim that correctly, and I know that's correct, and then I send that ball online, well, that accounts for my start line and read. So now if I hit that where I hit it 1 foot by and it misses high or low, I know that's not the correct read for 1 foot by. Right. And then I can adjust that and then try to match that speed more often or not. Well, let's assume that I kept it right at that 1 foot pace. Well, it missed high at 1 foot by. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it a little softer this time. So I hit it through the gate. It starts on that 1 foot read and then goes into the hole with dead weight. Well, now I confirmed that my initial read was for dead weight and not for 1 foot by. Right. So that's getting those two kind of match up, and always trying to correlate the three together, read, speed, and line, and how do they work together.
That is David Angelotti, the putting director at the Sea Island Golf Performance Center. Hopefully that helps all of us. We all need help with that putting. After the break, we're going to talk with Cheyenne Overby, the tournament director of the Club Car Championship at the Landings. Well, friends, after almost 1 year later, CJ's Italian Restaurant will be opening their doors. They are opened yesterday, so they're open today at 4:30. In an effort to do this as safely as possible, seating will be limited, but they will continue to offer their great curbside and delivery for all their peeps who may not be ready to come in just yet. So just give them a call, cjsitalianrestaurant.com. You can check out their full menu, and all they have to say to you is check us out, come in and see us this weekend, and you know we're going to do all the things for safety, and we're now open like we were before, almost 1 year later. cjsitalianrestaurant.com. golfshow.com.
Webb Simpson, PGA Tour. You're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. Glad you're with us. The Corn Ferry Tour event is coming up in Savannah in a couple of weeks. Many changes from last year's event, and on the phone with us is Cheyenne Overby, the tournament director of the now Club Car Championship at the Landings. And good morning, Cheyenne. How are you?
Good morning, Rich. I'm good. How are you?
I am so excited for you because of all the changes from last year. You've got to be excited about it.
I think we're most excited that we get to see our community again. It's
Yeah.
tough to plan an event and then have to pull it all back and then have an event and most people can't go. And so we're excited. We hope that people follow our mask policies while they're on the property so that they can all get to have fun. It's finally beautiful weather in Savannah and no more rain, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. So how did the Club Car Championship come about? Because that's a big deal for y'all, because you've had the tournament for 3 years without a major sponsor. This has got to be huge for you guys.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a title sponsor, it brings some stability to the tournament. And
Sure.
with Club Car's announcement and the Landings Club coming on as our presenting sponsor, we were able to go ahead and immediately extend our initial commitment to Savannah. So have another 3 years, and that's always exciting. You know, the more security you can have, the better.
And Cheyenne, last year, no fans or very, very limited. This year, what are y'all going to be able to do on tickets and fans being at the actual event?
We're going to have fans. So our policies are that all fans have to have masks on site, and that extends to our staff, our volunteers. Everybody on the property has to wear their masks when they're not eating or drinking. So we would encourage our fans to continue to socially distance. You have 18 holes of a golf course, and you're able to do that. And the tournament's been set up in a manner that people can. So, you know, we're going to go ahead and welcome our fans back. And
how are fans going to be able to get tickets? Can they go online? And if so, can you give us the site to get them?
They can. They just go to clubcarchampionship@tlc.com, and they can buy tickets under the tickets tab.
All right. Last year, your event was moved, postponed, I guess was the official word, and then you had it in the fall, and now you kind of have a quick turnaround. What does that do to you and your staff besides being faster than normal?
Oh, it's been a really interesting 5.5 months. You know, I think that golf tournaments, you know, people, the general public sees the build go up, and they see staff more actively for a few months before the tournament. And so I think that it probably seems like you build a tournament in 6 months. And in reality, we actually operate on what I would call a 14-month sales cycle. So 5.5 months was pretty intense. We knew what we were getting into, and we were up for the challenge, and it's been really good for a lot of reasons. And, you know, we're just ready to see it come to fruition, and we'll be excited when we get 12 months to plan the next one.
Yeah, I'll bet you will. Yeah, but it'll seem obviously way quicker because you just finished, and now you got to start on next year again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That part we're used to, but getting the 12-month lead will be pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
This is great. We're really fortunate to have good partners and a good community.
That always helps.
It's really been a blast.
So tell us about some of the events that you're going to have this year now that you're able to have fans.
Yeah, I think, you know, our first priority was the Military Appreciation Day. It's our players' favorite. It's our fans' favorite. And we're very grateful to the military for partnering with us again. So bringing back Military Appreciation Day and aircrafts and tanks all over the property. We are going to be able to have our junior clinic, which really would not be possible without Dentistry for Children, who was on board with that decision, as well as our volunteers. So really excited to get to bring the littles back out. We are going to have our Executive Women's Day event again. It's outdoors in a tent, and we weren't able to have that in 2020. So, you know, going to have our first actual 5K. We were supposed to debut our Outrun Hunger for Kids Cafe 5K with Nancy and Ken Larson last year, and we did still do it digitally, or virtually, I should say.
Right.
And actually, this year, people will get to come and walk or run the course. So, you know, things like that. We're really grateful that we play outside. It allows us to set up events safely. So we're looking forward to having those back and people getting to enjoy them again.
Yeah, and I can't wait because in 2 weeks, you and I will be together as we do the show live from the Savannah golf course at the Landings for the Club Car Championship. I am very excited about being able to come back up this year.
You're in charge of the weather, Rich.
I'll do my best, although I'm only a co-captain on that. But I have talked to several of the guys from here, Grayson Sig, who was up with you on Media Day, and Andrew Novak. They both said they can't wait to get back to Savannah because it is a great, great golf course and a great event.
You know, our players, we are so lucky. They're so wonderful. They're so involved in what we do, and Grayson in particular has done a lot for our tournament in Savannah, and we're thankful for that. But they get so spoiled here. It's such a wonderful city. Everyone's so excited. They're here. They get taken care of, and you know, what a great city to get to come spend a week and play golf.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. How many players will you have when you have all filled out?
We're a 156-man field, so we got a big big group, and Thursday and Friday we really ended up playing until just before dark. We managed to squeak it in every year, but that last group's usually headed towards darkness.
And how many exemptions will Club Car have now that you have a title sponsor in the Landings?
So Club Car has a total of 4. There are restricted spots and there are unrestricted spots. So you can only give restricted spots to players who are members, which means they've had some status on our tour.
Okay.
But they have 4.
And how many exemptions have you announced at Media Day that you had one exemption that you've given already? Tell us about that.
Yes. So the Media Day announcement was actually Corn Ferry's exemption. So
that's
the umbrella
okay.
partner. Corn Ferry has one exemption in each of our tournaments, and they've given that to Tim O'Neill again. And we're very excited for Tim. Want to see him tee it up again. Actually, Tim was that last group. Must have been Friday last year, where I thought they were going to have to call it. I didn't know if they'd be able to finish that hole. I was watching him come down 9. So really excited for him to get another shot at it, and that's really all thanks to Corn Ferry. And then Club Car announced they've given one of their unrestricted exemptions to Reed Lauder, who is a member of the Landings Club. And Reed's had a pretty impressive youth career so far. And I know that a lot of people have been whispering and chatting about that, and they're excited to see him play. So, 2 really exciting ones for some Savannah people to get a chance to be in the event.
And there are a lot of players that are going to be trying to earn some slots on playing a qualifier. Where is that going to be played and when?
So the qualifiers are actually on 2 different courses this year. Typically, we've had them at the Landings Club in the past, but one is going to be at Savannah Quarters, and the other one's at Georgia Southern. And I think there's usually, 300 or so people playing for those,
Wow.
and 8 spots get into the field through that.
Does that surprise you that there's so many out there, 300 players playing for 8 spots? I mean, you have got to have no mistakes and be on your game for 18 holes.
Yeah, Monday qualifiers, if you ever read statistics about Monday qualifiers and the level of competition, it's extremely intense.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me because on any given week, the Corn Ferry Tour has, maybe 260 plus guys who have some type of status that week. So you think about that number on 156 or 144 man fields, you already have another 100 plus people who have some type of status and all the other guys that are trying to get in. So Monday qualifiers are intense. They're, a lot of people are able to successfully Monday queue into events, and it's a great opportunity. If you Monday queue
Right.
and play well enough, you got a spot the next week, and your status can change in 1 week. You could go from not having enough status to make a start without a Monday queue to status for the next 8 events. So there's definitely a knack to it, and it's an absolute grind. The statistics are insane. Number of past winners, number of PGA Tour pros playing in them. They're pretty intense. Those guys are no joke, and a lot of times they're traveling overnight, teeing off. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. I think it's really kind of cool that you've got former PGA guys, Corn Ferry qualifiers who have been on the tour for a while and don't have exemptions, and it's just neat to see 300 people trying to go out there. Tell us more about the Landings. Your relationship with them has been incredible. Deer Creek is an unbelievable golf course, and all we got to worry about is the weather because everything else is already going to be there.
I could never overstate what the Landings Club has done for us and what partners they've been to us. They, took a chance on a Corn Ferry Tour event without a title sponsor, and they really are like family to us. And we were thrilled to get to welcome them on as our presenting sponsor and deepen our relationship with them by bringing Final Stage Q School here. So it's a very special place. It's a very special team that runs that property, and honestly, we're thrilled to be along for the ride with them.
Well, it's going to be a great event. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Actually, I'll see you next week at the Media Day. Can't wait to get up there and I don't know, I probably won't shoot under par, but hopefully I'll par the first hole and maybe I could quit. But
all you need is one good shot, Rich. One good shot around, you'll keep coming back.
You betcha. The golf gods are going to be with me. All right, Cheyenne, I'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, Cheyenne Overby, the tournament director of the Club Car Championship at the Landings, and it's coming up in 2 weeks, and the Back Nine Boys Golf Show will be out there live. as we are all Saturdays from 8 to 9. Coming up next, author and former golf announcer Craig Cann is coming up on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Hi, this is Vicki Stiles at Back Nine Boys. You are listening to my husband.
And yeah, okay, great. Thank you very much. I'm Rich Stiles. Thanks for having me back. Our next guest is Craig Cann, former Golf Channel broadcaster, now an author of a book, Can You Get Our Attention? And Craig, good morning, and I hope I have your attention this morning.
You've got my attention. How you doing? Good to be with you.
I am thrilled to have you with us because you and I talked yesterday. You and I have more in common than I really realized after glancing through your book. Being the South Side of Chicago, we grew up as a White Sox fan. But I just love the book because I was in sales for a long time. So tell me how you got to the point of writing this book.
Oh man! So in the earliest chapters of the book, I tell the story about being a young kid in Chicago and actually going to the library quite a bit and pulling out a bunch of books. And I'd read two or three at a time, keep them out there for a couple of weeks, and then return them. And so I always had that thought about maybe doing that someday. But you never know what the book might be or where your career is going to go or anything like that. In my career with Golf Channel and then also with the LPGA, I started thinking, you know what, I've got kind of an interesting background. And when I left the LPGA in 2016, toward the end of the year, and started my own business, Cann Advisory Group, I started working with corporations and with a lot of folks, helping them with their presentation skills, public speaking, sharing their brand, building their brand, all of that. With that, I felt like I need to do something else. I need an add-on. I need something I can give to folks as a walk away from a keynote speech or one of my workshops. And that's kind of where the book was all born. The title of the book is exactly that, to try to help people stand out and get noticed in a noisy world.
And what do you want people who are going to get the book, read the book, get out of the book?
Well, that's a good question. Obviously, when they pick it up at Amazon.com, they can read a lot of things. Every chapter is not for everybody, because one of the things that I did in the book is I used communication, presentation skills, public speaking, media coaching, media relations, social media, a lot of different aspects of my career, broadcasting, to try to bring everything to life to help people. So I think we're in a situation today, Rich, where a lot of people, because of the pandemic, are searching for a new job. Maybe they were furloughed, maybe they were let go. They're trying to find a way to get noticed. And that's what I'm trying to help people do. Build a platform that puts you in a situation where you're presenting your best self. Now, one of the things that I talk about a lot is storytelling and the importance in sales. And you know this because you're a sales guy. We buy people first and we buy product second.
Correct.
Well, if we buy people first, people need to figure out how can they put their best self forward. That's uncomfortable for a lot of people. So they have to learn to tell their story and know their story. And I felt like if I was going to do that and help coach people, which is what I do in my workshops around the country, I better share my own story. So in the book, I weave in my career all the way back to when I was a kid growing up in Western Springs, LaGrange, Illinois, up until now.
Yeah. It's interesting because when I moved from Illinois to North Carolina, one of the things that I was told was people don't necessarily want to know right now what you're selling today. They want to know more about you. Yeah. And you just said people buy you before they buy the product.
They do. And some people don't know where to begin with that.
Yes.
People ask me, who are you? What are you? And I use the term, I'm an elevator. And then people are like, what does that mean? I said, well, I work each day to try to elevate people to become better. I elevate brands to become bigger. And if you bring me on as a speaker or, a workshop host, I'm going to try to elevate your event to be grander. That's what I say that I try to do. And I think people need to understand what their value is. I think you need to work each and every day to try to figure out how you're going to go in and not just make a paycheck, but make a difference. There's a lot of people that work. There's not a lot of people that work with a real goal in mind of how they're going to make an impact, whether they're there 5 weeks, 5 months, or 5 years. And I think that's really important. But you have to know who you are. You have to dig deep to figure out what your brand story really is. I think it's more important than ever.
Yeah. And I think people, when you're presenting to them, when you meet them, passion is so important and being genuine is so important. And when you're presenting like you're doing, and as you say in the book, can you get our attention?
Yeah.
That passion is going to show within the first few minutes of whatever you're doing.
Well, the average attention span of a human being is 8 seconds, believe it or not. I had a guy in one of my workshops. Had a guy in one of my workshops say 8 seconds is actually a really long time, and everybody looked at him like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I was a professional bull rider for 20 years. 8 seconds is a real long time." So everybody laughed, of course. But when you get up on stage or when you're hosting a meeting online, and that's a big part of what everybody's doing right now, you don't have a lot of time to get people's attention. So you've got to find a way to be authentic. Sell yourself first, and then focus in on, the information. So many people in sales are so excited to talk about their product, they forget about the person on the other end. And we kind of have to have a role reversal where we think about what their needs are first, and then we try to be their hero and solve them for them. So like if I'm doing a keynote speech or any of my workshops, I actually have somebody come up at the very beginning, and I'll say, all right, here's your audience. They're right in front of you. Tell
Right.
them who you are and why we should care. Now, a lot of people don't have an answer to that. I don't do it to embarrass them. But the two things happen. Number one, they learn the value and the importance in sharing their story. But the other thing that happens is everybody in the room's like, uh-oh, he's calling on me next. And so I've got everybody's attention
Right.
at that point,
Right.
because they better be prepared. So
Right.
that's the importance of it. You talked about it. You're exactly right. Authenticity is really big, and we have to find out who we are and what our value is to people.
So are you working now in your new advisory company with any golf companies? And if so, how are you working with them as far as branding? Because it is so competitive out there, depending upon what you're trying to sell to the golf community or to the public.
Well, great question. Yeah, I've done a lot of work with really big companies like Accenture and Transamerica, but I've also done a lot with companies like the PGA of America.
Right.
And the PGA of Canada and the National Golf Course Owners Association of America and the Club Managers Association of America. So there's a lot of golf courses out there, and I would tell them the same thing I told tournament directors when I was Chief Communications Officer at the LPGA. Don't just have another tournament. That's what I told them. Make a happening, create an experience on our schedule. Give people a moment that they'll remember when they come in, and give them something then that they'll remember when they walk out the door. So they'll tell other people, you should have been there. And I think that's really important. So I get a lot of people in the golf community that call me. I do one-on-one consulting. It's a 3-month program.
Okay.
And I help build their brands, whether they're a general manager of a club or they're a PGA professional who wants to do something more. But I love working with folks at the PGA of America. I've done talks for a lot of their sections and just did one for the PGA of Alberta in Canada as well as their closing keynote. So, golf's kind of my bread and butter, as you know.
Sure.
A lot of people think of me in that role, but I've definitely expanded beyond that. But I always love to give back to the game that's meant so much to me.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've noticed all the years that I've been working in marketing and with golf courses is that golf courses don't really have a marketing budget.
No.
And they think that social media is going to be the way to get to everybody. And, most companies, golf courses, associations like you're working with, do a great job of telling people, actually don't do a great job of telling people what they do and what they offer.
Well, here's the biggest issue, and it doesn't matter if you're a golf course owner, if you're a golf course professional, if you're a PGA pro, whatever it might be. A lot of people don't know their story, and they don't know what's their differentiator, what separates them from somebody else. I used to tell the players at the LPGA this all the time. If I showed up at an event and there's a tee sheet with 155 names on it, and I bring my 3 kids, why am I going to invest my time? Why are we going to invest our time to follow you? What is it that you're going to bring to the table and share that with us? And the same thing goes for a golf course or anybody within the industry. What is it that separates you from somebody else? So here's an example that I use. A lot of golf courses, you play, I play, and there's a starter on the first tee, and they welcome you. And I think they actually have it backwards. I think they need a closer. I think they need somebody at the 18th hole when you're done to say, how was your experience, to get something on tape, to get a testimonial, to give them a free round of golf, to bring 2 people that have never played the game, to get other people to experience their course. And a lot of people think, look, there's only so many tee times available at a golf course, right? So if the tee sheet fills up, what else is there that can bring people together? Is your club or your course a hub for some sort of a social experience? All those things are ways to get people's attention and bring them there. But if you do get them there, and I always remember this, Rich, there's a professor that I had in college, and I talk about him in the book. He made a big impact on me. And he used to say, you can't preach to anybody unless you get them into the church. So the first goal is to get them there. And once they're there, give them an experience that they'll always remember, inspire them, empower them, and get them to head out the door with a clear message and an experience that they'll share with other people.
Yeah. And if you listen to some of the PGA guys about tournaments that they go to the tournaments knowing, obviously, that they're going to play golf. They're going to try and make the cut. They're going to try and make some money. But what I hear from some of them is, oh, I can't wait to go back to this golf tournament because of the milkshakes or because of the food that they have there or because of what they do for my family. So, it's the add-ons that you get that I think a lot of the golf courses and the golf sponsorships forget about. And those are the golf courses like Webb Simpson loves coming here to Sea Island, loves going to Hilton Head because he can take his family. There's things for them to do.
Yeah, no, that stuff's really important, and it goes way beyond that as well. So when I'm talking to Transamerica, or when I'm talking to Accenture, or when I'm talking to KPMG, they have competition, right? And a lot of people that go in there, they say, you know what, we have a great culture here. And I say, all right, what else is your differentiator? Well, we're people. Well, you know, we have a lot of people. I'm a people person. Okay, that's very generic, and it doesn't separate you from somebody else. Transamerica's got a lot of competitors. Why am I going to come to you? Diamond Resorts is a great example. I did 25 workshops for them over a span of 2 years around the country, and now they just got bought out the other day by Hilton Grand Vacations. All right, so what made them worthy? What made them valuable? And it was the experiential aspect to what they did. They had country music stars, they had athletes, they had people that were ambassadors for their brand. And that goes for every golf course, that goes for everything. You have to figure out, and you and me as well. I mean, how many people do podcasts? How many people do radio shows? How many people are on Sirius XM or on television? We have to find a way to stand out. And that is the premise behind the book. And that's what I try to help people do. If for nothing else than to understand the value and the importance that comes from figuring that out for ourselves.
Yeah, we have to find our uniqueness over all the other things that are out there. There is so much out there right now. We just have to find that one point. We're going to talk about that because you've got my attention, and we'll be back with Craig Cann right after this on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Green, you even still here?
This is Tom Hemmings. I'm a personal trainer at the Golf Performance Center at Sea Island, Georgia, and you're listening to Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. We're on the phone with Craig Cann, the author of a book, Can You Get Our Attention? All right, we've talked about the book. We've talked about all sales and stuff. I want to talk a little bit about the Golf Channel. You knew that was coming. So tell us a little bit about how you got the job at the Golf Channel back in the 90s.
Oh, boy. I was in Kalamazoo, Michigan at the time. It was my third job in television out of college at the University of Missouri. And I had an agent at the time, and I'd worked my way up like a lot of people in local news. And I was really blessed for having some opportunities to cover the game of golf. PGA Tour Champions events were in Naples, Florida when I was in the Fort Myers community, and also in Michigan as well. So my resume tape probably stood out from some people as far as the experience that I had covering golf at that level. So I sent my resume tape or my agent did, and I got this phone call out of nowhere. And they said, would I be interested in joining this new venture? It was founded by Arnold Palmer and a man named Joe Gibbs, not the football coach or the NASCAR guy. And so they flew me down there first class. I tell the story in my book, Can You Get Our Attention? They got mine. There's no question about it. They flew me down first class. Now they flew me back coach, Rich, and I've never understood that from this day. But nonetheless, I had an interview with a guy by the name of Mike Whalen, who was in charge of setting the whole thing up. He immediately saw something, I guess, in my tape amidst, 1,000 resume reels. He tells that story. And he offered me a job. Now, he gave me 24 or 48 hours, I don't remember which it was, to make a decision whether I wanted to be one of the original 6 on-air personalities at the Golf Channel in the studio. And I felt like it was just an opportunity I couldn't pass by. That was 1994 in November, December. And had just moved into a new house in Kalamazoo 3 months prior, and all of a sudden a for sale sign went up, and I ended up going down there and spent 18 years at the Golf Channel. Did everything imaginable, from covering the PGA Tour to play-by-play of the LPGA, the Canadian Tour, even the PGA Tour, Thursday, Fridays, all of that. It was it's obviously the biggest thing in my career, and it's given me a platform to be able to do a lot of the things I do now.
There's another thing you and I have in common. I was born in Kalamazoo.
Are you serious?
At Bronson Hospital.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you this: the people up there, and I'm not just saying this because we're on the air. They know that. I consider it really the greatest learning 4 years of my professional career. I kind of found myself there. I found my voice. I found my legs, if you will, in the broadcasting industry, and I felt like I was ready when I went to the Golf Channel to make an impact. And the people up there are so great. As you know, the golf courses in Michigan are phenomenal. So I loved it.
Yeah, they are. You just have a shorter period of time that you get to play golf up there.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So how was it? You're one of the original 6, and Dwayne Ballin was one of those. A friend of mine from Raleigh. How was it knowing that you were working with this new venture and you were going to meet the king?
Well, like everybody else, I mean, I was pretty nervous about it. He had his own parking space. You didn't dare park there.
Yep.
And he would only come every now and again. I tell the great story, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to be around Mr. Palmer on multiple occasions, including his 80th birthday. But the best story that I tell is the one from 1997, I think it was. It was right after the Olympics in Atlanta, and he opened a golf course in Conyers, Georgia. And we flew up there, believe it or not, in his private plane. He was going to do the grand opening. It was myself and a cameraman by the name of Al Pollock, who's still with Golf Channel. And his late wife, Winnie Palmer, was in there as well. Now, the king had his own pilot as well. So he flew, but he had a backup pilot in case anything went wrong.
Right.
So we went to the airport in Orlando, and we took off. And I mean, just very surreal, right? To be in the plane with him and go up there. He played his 18 holes of golf, and we covered it. We interviewed a bunch of people. And after the king was done, he went back to the airplane, and then we stayed. We had to do a couple extra interviews. Well, we got back to the plane, and there he is standing at the top of the stairs looking at us like, let's go. Like, where are you guys? Let's go. And he's waving us on. And so we went, yes, sir. So, we kind of hustle it up. We get on the plane and we take off. We get back to the Orlando airport, pull into his private hangar. And you got the umbrella, the iconic logo on the floor of this amazing, airplane hangar. Right. And we get out. I said, Mr. Palmer, thanks so much for a great day. It was just a wonderful experience. And, I can't wait to put this story together. He goes, where are you going? I said, well, going home, sir. He goes, the hell you are. I said, what? He said, yeah, we're having a beer. And he goes back inside of his plane and he pulls out this cooler and out comes, I don't know, Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Light, whatever it was, didn't matter. And I called home and I said to my wife at the time, I was like, I'm going to be late. And she said, why? I said, the king says we're having a beer. And if the king says we're having a beer, we are having a beer. So we sat around, told stories, and like everybody else, he makes you feel like the most important person in the room. That's how he always was. He always thanked me when he saw me for what I did for the channel. And yet at the same time, how can I not thank him for the opportunity in starting something like that became something for everybody in the game of golf?
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't a Palmer light. I mean, it seemed like everything he touched turned to gold. And, the famous I'll have an Arnold Palmer is just an incredible story in itself.
It is.
So that is one of the things that stands out from your time at Golf Channel. What is another one that stands out from your time of the interviews that you did or
Yeah.
people that you worked with?
Well, number one, I mean, I can't thank the people that I worked with enough. You mentioned Dwayne Ballin. Brian Ammon's one of my best friends to this day. Kelly Tillman was on my Sirius XM show a couple of weeks ago. I just emailed Rich Lerner to ask him to be my special guest on my Sirius XM show this week. Mark Lai, I've been working with for years. Jerry Foltz. I could go on down the line. I mean, just so many special people. But if you're going to say what stands out, that's a pretty easy one for me. I interviewed the First Lady right after Hurricane Katrina. She was a school teacher and she was in New Orleans. There were 3 people that got to interview her in a sit down. And when you do a sit down, the White House contacts you and does all this background check on you. And it was a really big deal. CBS had somebody, Golf Channel had somebody, and I don't remember what the third network was. But later that year, so that was at the New Orleans PGA Tour event, later that year in about, we'll call it October, in my inbox, my mailbox at the Golf Channel comes this letter, official letter from the White House inviting me and a significant other to the White House for a holiday reception with the President of the United States and his special dignitaries. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So long story short, we flew up there. President George W. Bush and Laura Bush. We were there. When I was in line getting in, it was Wolf Blitzer. It was Bob Schieffer. I mean, they were right in front of me. And I went up to them and I said, guys, I just want to say how amazing this is to be. Chris Wallace was right there as well, to be in your company. And they said, forget that. Let's talk golf. I'm like, oh my gosh, talk about a situation room. I was thrilled about that. And, I always remember it. The other thing that I'll tell you, Rich, is in Tiger's debut in Milwaukee, I was there for the Hello World press conference. I was the reporter there. Okay. I was also the guy that got to interview him when he won the Masters in '97 in the locker room at Augusta National. The one guy sitting down doing that interview for Golf Channel. I was the only anchor in the studio the day he hit the fire hydrant at day after Thanksgiving.
Wow.
I was there at the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines when he won on a broken leg. I've been through a lot with the Tiger Woods story, and that's just one of many things that you get to cover in this sport. It's just been an amazing ride.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I'm envious. I'm jealous. I mean, it just sounds cool. I did do an interview with Peter Kessler, who told me he was also one of the originals.
Yeah, no doubt.
He used to park in Mr. Palmer's parking place because he was Peter Kessler.
Yeah, he would probably say that to a lot of people too. I wouldn't dare go there. I'm not that guy, but it's a cool thing. And that's one thing about Mr. Palmer. You talk about getting people's attention. He gets everybody's attention, and it's well deserved.
Yeah. Any comments that you might have about the Golf Channel moving from Orlando? A lot of staff changes to Connecticut.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, it's different. It's more corporate. Times they are a-changing. I left in 2011 to be chief communications officer at the LPGA, which was a career pivot for me. But in 2009, I saw some changing with Comcast and NBC, and a lot of people that were my friends were being let go, and a lot of things changed there. And now it's really changed. I don't think if Mr. Palmer were alive today, the Golf Channel would be moving up to Connecticut. I just don't think that would have happened.
No, not at all.
It is different. I think the programming is far different. I will always hold a special place for the Golf Channel in my heart. But it isn't the same Golf Channel as what I was a part of and the people that I worked with. I don't say that out of any regret or distaste or anything like that, because I'm not here talking to you if not for my opportunity with the Golf Channel, and I'll never forget it. But it's different, and I feel sorry for a lot of people that were let go who put a lot of work into making that place what it is for other people.
Yeah, we've got about 30 seconds. What do you think about the change from LPGA leadership recently?
Well, Mike Wan spent 10 years there. I was blessed to work with him. It was a dynamic leadership team to go from 24 events to 34 events, to be named a finalist for Sports League of the Year. You know what? The USGA got the first home run of the year that's been recorded. Baseball hasn't started yet, but it's a pretty big deal. So he did great things.
Yeah, well, you did great things, and thanks for keeping our attention, getting our attention, and doing the book. Great pleasure talking to you. Thanks, Craig, for being with us.
Well, I appreciate it. I hope people will go to Amazon.com and find that book, and they can also go to my website, cannadvisory.com, and they can hit a button, and I'll do an autographed personal signature copy and mail it out to them. So I hope they'll check it out.
All right, you got it. Craig, thanks. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks for having me on. It means a
All
lot.
right. It was a pleasure. Craig Cann from the Golf Channel, now with his own consulting and advisory company. And thank you for listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show right here on ESPN Coastal every Saturday and Sunday from 8 to 9. And we'll be in Savannah in a couple of weeks. And next week, we've got Bob May that had a battle with Tiger Woods at a PGA championship. Thanks for listening. You have a great day.